run our dough.
Welcome back to another week of odds. Week 14 is behind us. Week 15 now. So it was a week full of opportunities last week at Caulfield. I wouldn't say that I seized that many of them. In review, a lot of the early races I went hard on bonus bets and also outsiders that just didn't come off. So Gold Wolf was a good run, but didn't make the placings. So Sino let us down. Save for Maximilian Caesar. Bets on Federer. I was wary of that. Like I obviously wanted to jump on with the bonus bets. It made sense, but I mean, that just wilted. That's just another example of why $1.40 favourites are just no good sometimes when everyone jumps on. It was pretty crazy. I mean, $1.65 was already too short, but $1.35 was just insanity. So yeah, that was nowhere. Piaggio at 50-1 for the place was very good, close up for fourth. Just missed out. Almaric was nowhere. Poifect and Quickster, as predicted, were first and third. Reba Port nowhere. Sakima was a good run. That is something to continue to follow. But yes, close up fourth. Berberdez nowhere. Wish All Lass was a good run. Run Harry Run was a good run. Close to getting a trifecta or first four there. A little bit more thought that could have come off. The Inferno was no good. Jimmy Star was very good, but I mean, it just got there on the line. But still, it was interesting that it drifted to 7 because it was about 550 starting out, and I would have thought it would have come in a bit. But the 7 was very good value in hindsight. Didn't manage to get the trifecta there, but I mean, Ashford Street, good old tough campaigner, $8 for the place. That would have been a good one to do, like Jimmy Star and the Inferno, Field for second, favourites for third, something like that. Positivity. It's a horse that has just eluded me a little bit lately. I love the name. The form being good, the odds were good. Just couldn't fit in. I just liked other ones ahead of it. Immediacy, Quay Tempesta, St George. Future History was a missed opportunity because that's a tough Cups campaigner where the $5 for second was really good value. I should have been onto that for a place bet. Again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But yeah, that I should have allotted like just $1 or $2 there for the place, but missed out on all the exotics there. Buckaroo was good. It wasn't a race that I really liked, and it was sort of just a situation of just picking the best horse in that situation. I could have easily picked place to Carousel, but I'm happy that Buckaroo did justify the people that were backing it and had sort of picked it during the week. There was a lot of people who jumped on board and say that the horse had turned a corner, and it sort of did it one with a lot of authority. So that was good to get that. And I mean, it paid well in the end as well, sort of drifting around that $7 mark. Again, like sort of close-ish around the trifectas. There was an opportunity there with Buckaroo for first. You could have taken the Field for second, and then had sort of the favourites, Pericles around for third, and got a good dividend. And then the next race, Depth of Character at FML's nowhere. And then the last race, I went for Eternal Flame. Could have opted for Kundalini. Opportunity missed there, and then Sydney was sort of no good. So got back about $40 out of the 50, which I'm not too unhappy with because the first part of the day I was nowhere near it, and then I didn't offset a lot in Sydney, so it was a lot riding on Caulfield, and a few things went our way, so it could have been a lot worse. But I'm happy to sort of get the 40 back and move on. The footy was nowhere really close. Wines didn't get the 20. Burn Jones didn't kick a goal. Parker didn't kick a goal. So the 6-leg multi, we got 3 legs. It's beautiful to get the $20 bonus bets back. That will supercharge for this week, but a bit too frivolous with putting in too many legs. And it was a game where it could have been anything with those legs, Sydney and Port. So moving on to this week, we'll just do a quick recap first. So overall, up 27% on the races, up 15% on the footy. Overall, it's a 24% positive return so far after 14 weeks, which is still very good, still very happy. So on to week 15, $50 split across Moonee Valley Friday night and a bit on Sydney for the Golden Rose on Saturday, and then obviously a footy bet. So getting right into it, starting off Moonee Valley race 1. It's a pretty good meeting at Moonee Valley. A lot of horses who have run there before. Good fields, small fields. It makes it a bit more manageable, like on a busy weekend time-wise, to have just sort of do more form. Some of those big fields were quite taxing in the previous few weeks. So when you see something like the Mr. Brightside race with 4 horses, like that's just a 10 or 15 minute time saver. So very good there. So race one at Moonee Valley. We are going to go. Yeah, so Gallant Sun was very good, winning by 6 lengths at its only start. Really blew them away. This is interesting. I think Stanley Express is too short. It sat sort of midfield on the fence in its only run, and then when they went around the turn, this big gap opened and sort of it came through and it sort of ground to the line. Can't really see that working at Moonee Valley if it tries to do the same thing. Stay Focused and Double Down were both sort of poor in that race that Growing Empire won last time, but the track was very wet. It's hard to know. I mean, they were sort of resuming. They're sort of a watch and see. Double Down gets back to the ground that it wants. I don't think it really wanted that to be too wet. Stay Focused, just not sure what really happened. What really happened there. Same thing. I probably just didn't like the wet track, so I'd be looking at those two to improve a lot. Stolly Bolly is one I like. I think that those runs at Moonee Valley, or what elevates it above the other horses in this race, is that it didn't have the greatest run last time behind Age of Capital, but it still stuck on well. It was 3 wide. It came around the turn. A lot of horses would have wilted, but it was still coming, and it got beaten by the ones that sort of had better runs. But it was pretty tough, and that's 2 runs in a row now of experience at Moonee Valley, which is going to be a lot better for this time around. Drawn in barrier 5. I think that's got sort of an edge over like a 10s, which has a better barrier, but it's sort of coming through like maybe in class 1. It's got to step up and get used to this sort of class. So I'd be having something for the win on Gallant Sun, and then with, your bonus bets back, but something also on Stolly Bolly. Same thing, just do like one of the TAB, one of the sports bet. I think Stolly Bolly will be really, really hard to beat. And then Quinellas and trifectas. I do a Quinella for Double Down 1, Stay Focused 2, Stolly Bolly 6, Gallant Sun 8. Same for a trifecta. If Gallant Sun wins, it won't pay a lot, but it's just sort of be nice to get a collect early on. If something like a Stay Focused happened to win, and then you could sort of have like a Stolly Bolly 2nd, Gallant Sun 3rd, that would be pretty decent. So starting the day that way. Second race over the 1200, just an 84 restricted grade. This one's cool. War Machine's a similar sort of story to Gallant Sun, like undefeated, handful of starts. Looked really good at its last 2, I have to say. But then, I mean, this is it's coming up against a lot tougher opposition. Gumdrop's racing really good races in its previous prep. I think that first up will be really good value with the 9. Bel Air's sort of similar. It probably wants more that 1400, but still probably quite effective over the 1200. Barrier 1, I think that's over the odds at 13. Really, I mean, like even like a Home Rule could bob up. Mars Mission is good at the track. Sir Sway I liked last time. It was a pretty decent run, and that was down the straight. It was that heavy track. It was behind Moby Dick. I think you can just sort of glance at that form, but also just sort of move on from it a little bit. So I'll be having each way on Gumdrops, each way on Sir Sway, bonus bets on Bel Air. It's a pretty big field, so I'm keen to sort of try a few options. And then Quinellas and trifectas around 2 Bel Air, 7 Gumdrops, 10 War Machine, 11 Mars Mission, 12 Sir Sway. Be interesting how some of these other horses go. Zolfikar, so like, a lot of spells between runs. She Light was poor last time. I bet on it. Barracuda's just been so consistent. I'm sort of just assuming that it will sort of drop the ball at some stage. Barrier 10, sort of high weight. There's interesting things like Barber, you just don't know. So yeah, I'm happy with those, and then just sort of move on. Race 3, this is cool. One of the 55 second challenges. I just think Marble 9, it's had so many runs this prep. It's really rock hard fit. Was really good last time in that race. Was it behind recommendation or Mornington Glory? No, press down. Before that, it was behind recommendation. I think that that's the logical choice. $6.50 seems really good value. I know it's got a lot of weight, but I like that it's been running in that sort of tougher grade. A lot of these other ones are resuming, like Salui, which I do think will run a place. Frilled is a favourite. Yeah, look, it's out of Start Witness, 8 starts with 5 wins. Won its last trial by 7. Pretty damn impressive and undefeated on good tracks. So I can see why it's favourite. It's also a very easy favourite at $4.20. Passegiada's right up there challenging it. But I mean, that's coming out of sort of 78 grade races. For me, Marble 9 is a nice bet. And then a trifecta with Marble 9 and Salui as roving bankers in the field to row, just in case something else sort of pops in there, like a Scuderia or even, an Osamu at 40-1. Could it happen? Could you imagine? Beast Mode's been good, yeah. Sort of a weird race. I wouldn't want to outlay too much. I just don't really know enough about those form lines in depth, but Marble 9 will do for me. Race 4, the Fian Stakes, 1,600 metres, Group 2. I love a match race. I mean, it's not a two-horse race, but sort of is. These are funny. I remember probably 20 years ago when Testarossa and that other horse, Redute's Choice, that they would often race against each other. And then it was at Flemington, maybe. They were like the two hot favourites and nothing else was given a chance. And Spargo won at like 50-1 or 80-1. And the roving reporter after the race was going around the track asking people if they'd bet on it, and I think like 3 people across the whole track he could find to bet on Spargo. So these two will be they'll be eyeing one another, and Antina or Attrition could get a decent run somehow and run well. So I wouldn't be investing a whole lot. Leaders at Moonee Valley is always the way to go, so that makes Pride of Jenny a very good option. Barrier 1 leading $1.90. It hasn't got a great record on good tracks, 4 out of 19. I mean, make of that what you will. I'll be having something small on Pride of Jenny. I'll just be interested to see how this goes, how they settle. Pride of Jenny should lead, probably Antino second, Bright Side outside of Attrition, third and fourth, and they probably won't move. So, let's see how the match race unfolds. Race 5 is awesome. Scarborough Stakes, 1,200 metres, Group 3. So many chances. Probably the interesting thing here is that Bellatrix Star, like we were on last time, but the ride was excellent from Mickey D, and that contributed a lot to it winning, I think. Could be totally wrong. So the $9 maybe isn't as much value this time. Anisa and Gigi's Miss Truth, really good. Anisa's just had good form last prep, again, good races. Gigi's Miss Truth was coming really hard behind Drifting. I think that's good form. I think Drifting is a really good horse. So Gigi's Miss Truth from Barrier 4 should get a great run at Moonee Valley. I think that's really good value at the 5. To be or not to be, I do like. I'm just not sure how it will go at Moonee Valley, so I'm a little bit not as sure there. Matisse, the form is really good. I just think first up it might sort of want this, or like Barrier 10, it won't get a great run. So I'm happy to sort of wait for that maybe in a few weeks at Flemington. Might be a bit better. Z-Tongue, the form was really good in Sydney. I can see that just going back and running on hard. 850 is good value, so I'll be putting that in all multis. And then Sassy Jenny, formed good sort of as an outsider. And then I want to mention another profit. 7th last time, didn't want the wet ground, gets dry ground this time. See what it does at 26. Bold Bastille as a favourite makes a lot of sense, but Barrier 12, I'm sort of just keen to try the other ones. So for me, each way Anisa, each way Gigi's Miss Truth, business as usual. 1 on tab 1 on the sports bet. And then Quinellas and trifectas around 1, Anisa, 4, Gigi's Miss Truth, 7, Z-Tongue, and also 5, To Be or Not To Be. You could throw in Sassy Jenny if you want to do a 5-leg. Going on to race 6, 600 metre start stakes. This is a cool race too. A lot of good winning form lines. Ruta Royale was put back to a maiden. Was it a maiden last time that it won? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Sort of strolling leading. Before that, it had been sitting back in fields. It was good to see that it got that win. Evaporate was good last time at Moonee Valley when we were on it. Dawn Service was good last time, but I mean, it sort of had them stacked and racked leading, so I don't know how it will go. I mean, if it leads again, that'll be good for Moonee Valley, but I don't know whether it will be able to do the same thing here. I thought Daggers was good last time. Didn't have the greatest run, but really stuck on well. Detroit City, interesting. Garçon d'Espoir, interesting from from Tassie form on those dirt tracks. That could challenge the lead. Henline made up a stack of ground in in that race in Sydney last time in a good field. So for me, that's a definite watch. I mean, at Moonee Valley, it might not be super suited, but I think that's sort of the ominous class runner. I won't be as keen on Dawn Service at the 320, so I'd say each way on Daggers, each way on Henline, try and get some bonus bets back. You can even use bonus bets on Henline at the 650, and then try to do some Quinellas around it. I wouldn't be surprised if Ruta Royale after that win sort of runs well again. So Quiddell's around 1 Ruta Royale, 4 Daggers and 7 Henley. And then it's probably foolish of me to sort of forget about Evaporate, but with a lot of horses around that $4 mark, you're still going to try and find some value. So I'll sort of look at 147 and see if anything can happen there. Getting on to race 7. Oh, Manikato Stakes, amazing. I wish I'd probably needed that run first up. It was charging, but probably wasn't going to win that day in hindsight, so probably a lot better suited now. But we'll have to go back from barrier 11. Recommendations being in great form. Barrier 4 will go forward. Southport Tycoon is always over the odds. It's a higher class horse than people probably realise, and 20-1 is very generous. I think, yeah, some of those horses like Johnny Rocket, Cabalas, I'm just going to sort of overlook here. Climbing Star as well with the Adelaide form. Growing Empires, after its great wins and then jumping up to this class with 52 kilos. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, 460 seems value. On the other, maybe not so much. Hayasugi ran really well last start, but from barrier 2, will it get sort of stuck back in the field from there in the sort of not a great spot? I'm quite keen on V8 or V8, however people are running with the pronunciation. I think that it took some big steps last campaign and it could be ready to run a big race first up. So I'll be having that each way. And then Quiddell's and Trifecta's round 1, I wish I win. 2 V8, 4 Southport Tycoon, 13 Hayasugi. Maybe the 12 Growing Empire as well to do a 5 leg just in case. So I'll do that. The Hayasugi is very interesting with the 50 kilos, but I'll sort of be going around V8. And then the last race, this was an oversight last time. Grinzinger Bell, the form was really good, and I think they just took it to the lead because it hadn't really led before. They just wanted it to get a decent-ish run and let class do the talking, and it did. It just blew them away on a day that leaders weren't winning that much. So great to see that won. It was a shame we weren't on it at 15-1, but I feel like they could do the same here. Barrier 6, go straight to the lead, get a nice sort of stock stakes in the last race. There's some horses here at big odds that are probably going to run on into a placing. Maracana, second to none. Lady Jones, I'll sort of be having an eye on. Alsafina was good last time. I'd be keen to sort of watch it. I don't know, the 420 might be too short. And Jenny Lala, the form's really good. 13 starts, 4 wins, 4 placings. I think that's probably better value in a sense than Grinzinger at $2.90 with 58 kilos. You can get Jenny Lala at $5 with 55 kilos. And then Firemet has done nothing wrong and Matriarch Rose down there. So tough race, I would say. I'll be doing Grinzinger Bell, just something for the win. And then a Quidella, like with that as a standout. And then 3, 4 or 6. 3 Maracana, 4 second to none, 6 Lady Jones to fill a placing, just to see if that can happen. And then probably a trifecta with Grinzinger and Jenny Lala as Roving bankers, and then 3, 4 and 6 to fill a placing around that just to see. But yeah, I'll be keen to see if they just take Grinzinger as the lead and it just has a good run, kicks, and that's sort of the way they go. So that covers Birdie Valley. And then tomorrow I will do something, some funds at Rosehill and trying to diversify a bit more. Race 1 will be a skip. Race 2, something on Ballandary Sal, likes wet tracks, and it's going to be heavy up there, most likely. 3 kilo claim, $9.50. I like something on that with a bonus bet. Race 3, that'll be a skip. Race 4, that'll also be a skip. Race 5 is pretty interesting. There are some outsiders here that could run well, like a Perspiration or an Althoff that had good wet track form from its first prep. Ikasara had a good win, put away, won a trial by 6 legs recently. So for me, I'd be wanting something on that. You could do, I'll have like a bonus bet maybe on Winning Proposal. That's also good down the order and likes heavy, placed each time on heavy. So that's something to consider. Maybe like a Quinella around 6, 8 and 5 and maybe 2, just something to try. Race 6, 1400 meters. Kodasana really likes it heavy, so something on that. And then Quinella with that as a standout with 14 Cadetship, 15 Hell of a Dancer, 16 Kind Words, 17 Private Legacy, 20 Good Banter. Good Banter also likes it wet, so I'll be sort of having something around Kodasana and Good Banter in that race. Big field, could be anything, so I won't be outlaying a lot. Race 7, the Golden Pendant. I'm just going to Going to keep it simple here, something on Samana at $2.70. Golden Rose, race 8. Broadsiding likes it wet, makes a lot of sense. Stormboy didn't have the greatest run last time, so that might be why people are letting it get out to $4.80. One side heavy for unplaced, that's going to sort of count against it in the barrier 10. Even still, like it would be no surprise if it came out in 1. Emirate down the order at $13 does have like good wet track form, so I'll be doing some sort of trifecta with Emirate number 8 and broadsiding number 1 as roving bankers, and then field to rove. It'd be cool if Clear Proof runs a big race. That's sort of been mixing some form. 1 at 100 to 1, second at 20 to 1, ran last in a group 3. Just interesting. Tropicus, I've liked that recently and I'm overlooking it here. So that'd be sad if it didn't, or it'd be good if it won, but it'd be sad if we didn't make anything out of it. But yeah, 1 and 8 I'll be doing, and then to rove around. Race 9, the Shannon Stakes over the 1500. Looking for wet trackers, so something on Punch Lane at 12 to 1. And then I think 10 to skip. So that covers the 50. And then looking at the grand final, the end of the AFL season, I've been keen on Brisbane all the way. I thought that once if they won that game against the GWS, they would go all the way and win the whole thing. I still think that's the case. So for our $20 bet, what is the best option? I'm still sort of loath, just from a general point of view, to do same game multis where you pick a team to win. I feel like it just, if your team is losing, it takes a bit of the fun out of the day. So looking at promotions, better money back if your same game multi loses. So 3 legs, keeping it very simple since we haven't had a collect for a few weeks. Brisbane with a 15.5 point head start. I feel like if they lose, will only be by a small amount. Charlie Cameron, anytime goal scorer, and Tom Hapley, anytime goal scorer. So odds of $2 from 5, $20 on that. Money back if it loses. That to me seems like a good proposition. I think that it could be a bit of a similar template to the 2017 grand final, where Adelaide went in as favourites, kicked the first 2 goals, looked really good. Richmond took over. Obviously, they won by a big amount that day. I feel like Sydney will hit the lead early. Brisbane will ping them back. Halftime, Sydney might be up by about 15 points. Brisbane will turn things on in the third quarter again, get close. It'll go into 3-quarter time, maybe like a goal the difference, Sydney up by a goal, and then Brisbane will win. That's my general template for how I think it'll go. And I'll have something on Hipwood to kick 3+ goals and do a real turnaround from last year that he'll really contribute this year. So that's what I'll have a look at. And it's a big weekend. There's like more racing at Sandown tomorrow, which hasn't even been included here, and then Sunday. So have a great weekend. Bets on the Norm Smith. Bets on the grand final. Let's see where we are after week 15. Back again next week. Have a great weekend.
And then came Sweet Liaison as they turned for home. Jefferson, he's been in front every inch of the way. He's out like 2.